Hey everyone, it is time to have a serious talk about Heroes of the Storm ranked in North America, for the record, not Europe at all. In Europe, I actually have had good experiences when I play in it. In North America ranked, though, it is a complete wasteland that is impossible to play in. And you may be asking, where is this video coming from? Why am I sitting down and talking about this? And I don't know, I just kind of wanted to freeload my thoughts on people because there are some weird accusations that happen in YouTube comments, Reddit as well, things like that when it comes to this game and ranked experience. And I honestly can't understand why half the people think the way they do. So I would love to open up a dialogue and have a conversation here. Today's video is actually going to be started by one of the comments on my latest video where we had a couple of players that very apparently did not know how to play Heroes of the Storm and consistently threw. They tried to berate me. I berated them back, let them know that they were pretty bad at the video game, muted them all, and moved on, and then uploaded the video. There are two things that need to be said here. First off, let's look at the comment that has started all this. Here's a comment from ScottK4424. Hey Tim, I was looking forward to watching your HOTS video, but you were so negative throughout the video that it was a little cringe. We can tell that you do not want to play HOTS and your mindset is very negative against it. Find a group to climb with because playing ranked solo will always be bad. I am not being satirical. I just like looking forward to seeing great HOTS content from you. First off, cool. I'm glad you like looking forward to HOTS content from you. Here's the thing when it comes to creating any HOTS content for Heroes of the Storm. You will need to record 4 or 5 different videos just to get decent gameplay or run viewer games. I hate viewer games. Viewer games are awful. Go look at any YouTuber that is running HOTS content when it comes to running viewer games. They're going to have people trying to do dumb things to show off, which is fun and all good. You can do that in Quick Match. You can do that in ARAM, that's fun to me. Or two, they are constantly focusing the streamer, and although they might try to play it off, I know a few of my friends will just laugh it off and whatnot, but they are infuriated because people will just run past the lines and not even play the game just to kill a streamer. They will lose games of HOTS just to feel good about killing someone, which is like, fine, whatever, have fun. I just don't want to partake in it, so I don't want to come to viewer games. When it comes to recording content in ranked, as mentioned, it takes 4 or 5 videos to find a decent game because there is so much throwing going on in Heroes of the Storm. People have forgotten the bare minimum of the game. And the thing is, I do come from a place a few years ago where people were playing HOTS seriously a long time ago. There were good games. People understood their power levels. They understood team experience. They understood the basic necessities in order to win. I don't have a problem playing different compositions. I don't have an issue doing something fun, right? Like a Tyrael into a Hinder and Blast. The issue is there is no thought towards doing that. People just run amok like chickens with their heads cut off. And then when you try to ask them to grab experience or soak up or do any replay analysis, they suddenly just get very, very aggressive. They yell at you, tell you don't know how to play the game, which is bonkers to me, as admittedly, I have too many games in this game, right? Let's get one thing straight, actually, when it comes back to that one comment. We can tell that you do not want to play HOTS and your mindset is very negative against it. This is false. I fucking love HOTS. I am addicted to HOTS. I think Heroes of the Storm is one of my favorite games that has ever been created. Sadly, Heroes of the Storm is a shadow of itself, and every time I try to log in and try to have a positive mental attitude, it is immediately ruined by the players that are playing ranked. To me, when you are jumping into a ranked experience for any game, you're putting your best foot forward, right? You are trying to play the game mechanics in order to earn a win over your opponent. Now, winning is nice. I do like winning. Winning isn't everything to me. I do think learning and adjusting and being in an environment that tests your mettle is good, right? The issue is when all 10 players aren't at that level or are attempting to win is when the game falls apart. Heroes of the Storm community calls League of Legends, Dota, any other team game as toxic places to be, that they're the worst places to be ever. To me, Heroes of the Storm has become the most toxic game on the planet. Sure, you have some buttheads in League of Legends. I've complained about some buttheads in League of Legends. The surrendering at 15 is probably obnoxious and needs to be nerfed to 20-25 minutes because people give up way too early. But the thing is, if you look at a window of 10 games, usually you'll get 7 to 8 good games in League of Legends. And HOTS, I don't know if you get 1 or 2 in 10. It is that inconsistent. And again, this is all North America. Europe felt a lot better. Europe is a shiny example of what Heroes of Storm can be, right? macro-oriented, playing as a team, working together, building out compositions. Sure, there's some buttheads, right? Sure, there's some toxicity. Sure, there's some games being thrown. Sure, there's some 3-level leads, but it's not the level in North America. And I don't know why North America has become the way it is, right? Like, why have we gotten here? It feels like North American players now are just MOBA players that can't make it in other games. I thought I was becoming the problem, honestly, when I was towards the end of my career in Heroes of the Storm. Of streaming it daily, right? I used to be full-time streamer. You know, I put 7 years of my life into this game. I was starting to get on the impression that maybe I was too try-hard. Maybe I was learning too much. To be fair, I was casting HUC, I was watching the best players in the world. Maybe I was the issue. But then I went and played other games, and everyone is putting their best foot forward. Even in League, Street Fighter, all these competitive games. Valorant. Valorant is like one of the greatest games I've played in terms of people working together for teamwork. But when it comes to HOTS, nobody can communicate. Nobody can work together. Nobody can play the basic game mechanics. I have to ask you a question, seriously, for the Heroes of the Storm players. And I want you to be honest with yourself. You don't have to write it in the comments. You don't have to say anything. How many times have you guys lost a match and went and looked at a replay? The answer is probably less than 5 times, if that, right? I have offered so many times in Heroes of the Storm, sometimes in an aggressive, sarcastic way, but I have yet to get a response, to sit down and watch a replay with players that I disagree with, to actually have a communication about how to play something. And I'm going to force you guys to watch a replay after this video. I'm going to do a replay with this, and I'm going to explain every single thing of what frustrates me about Heroes of the Storm, and hopefully somebody somewhere will learn something. Because I have a sub-goal to get to Masters, and I'm going to do it. I'm not going to back out on people that do care about HOTS, because I know there are people that are out there, and of course people that are willing to put money forward for it, right? Like, there are some great people in the HOTS community, but for some reason that is not echoed in the rank scene, and I find that so freaking frustrating. I find it so annoying. And then I look over into YouTube comments, and people are like, be more positive. Do more fun stuff. And it's just like, do you want me to be the Joker? Like, you want me to just giggle my way through a loss all the time? Like, this stuff is work. I take ranked environments very seriously, and if people around me are taking them seriously, I can have fun and I can giggle and enjoy myself. But for some reason, when it comes to Heroes of the Storm, because we don't have independent skill, right? We don't have the stuff in League and Dota where you can just build a couple of items and counter the opposing team that's good. We're stuck playing with each other, right? And I don't know how to convince people that don't want to play as a team to work together to win. I don't know how else to say this, but Heroes of the Storm is a pretty easy game. There is some difficulty in it with there being different maps and different things to do stuff, right? But in terms of other MOBAs that exist, Smite, Dota, League of Legends, Heroes is the easiest. It's a great way to step into a MOBA and then learn the intricacies of team fights. It's one of the greatest things that Blizzard has done to teach people how to play MOBAs, and for some reason everyone just spits it at the face. Like, doesn't that frustrate you? We had a game that had incredible player bases around it. We had esports, which to be fair is not the player base's fault. It was lost. Blizzard took that away from us. And we had a great balanced game that the North American scene just laughs at, it feels like, you know? Like, we're a game that's in the garbage disposal, and it's not like this game is constantly changing, like it's getting harder or anything. We've had the same game since 2019. Why are the basic mechanics like soaking just being ignored? You know? I also wanted to speak about one thing as well, is when I do videos and I put them on YouTube and whatnot, for some reason, we have YouTube comments that say things like, I'm good, TrikSlyr, I'll just unsub. Let me say this in the most heartfelt way I can. Please do so. Do not sub to my content if you care about HOTS only and what I say about HOTS. I am a variety streamer, and I have been for 3 or 4 years. I have moved on past HOTS. I come back to visit this game because I love it, and because sometimes we have sub-goals and fun challenges that we try to do so we can revisit it and see if it's still playable. If you want to sit there and try and hover a sub over me and act like you're in control of my content, please kindly fuck off. Like, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Leave. Do not be a part of this content, you know? If you do enjoy video games and you want to have fun and you want to learn something occasionally, then sure, stay here and hang out. But don't ever sit here and just, like, act like taking an unsub from me is going to make me change my stuff. Like, that just infuriates me and makes me want to make sure that I never make content on that game going forward, you know? Okay, so with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into a replay. I'm going to explain this game that I uploaded on YouTube, what went wrong through the entire match, what I'm looking for as a player, and what you should be looking for as well. Okay, let's hop in. Okay, welcome to the match that we had yesterday. Let's go ahead and play it here at normal speed. Shouldn't have to pause too much, but we'll see. If you look at the compositions here, you see we have Azul, Garrosh, Gul'dan, Zarya, and Malfurion. Alright, so what does this team comp do over here on the left side? They have really good wave clear. Between Zul, he can double soak no problem. Gul'dan also helps out with any pushes that are coming their way, and they're very good at getting in your face, thanks to Garrosh and Zarya, and they also have a really good CC combo if they isolate you with Garrosh and the Malfurion root, right? Pretty good DPS. You don't want to fight this composition if you are a team that is trying to scale up. On the far right side, the red team, my team that we're running with, they are looking as a pick composition. We have a Stitches main tank, we have a Varian, that could be going into many things at level 4. My hope is Colossus Smash when I start this game, but you never know. A lot of players in Ranked think that going Twin Blades is the play, which, to be fair, it is strong when it comes to Merc camps, right? So this composition does not want to brawl. What they want to do, based off their talent picks, as you can see here, is we want to go into Mana Addict, which means we want to try and pick up as many Regen Globes, and the same here for Stitches. Where do you get Regen Globes? You get them from minion waves on this little wizard here, and then, of course, Merc camps all drop Regen Globes, right? So in theory, what you would want to do at this composition is you want to wave clear and rotate. Wave clear and rotate. This does two things for your composition. One, the Regen Globe talent that you're trying to build into will get stacked up. And then two, it spreads out this composition that we know is strong together as a unit of 4. So, something to think about. We'll see how our team wants to go into this fight and how it all plays out. Right off, we start off with a fight here in the middle lane, and our KT is not doing anything to wave clear this. If you are playing KT, your combo is very simple. It's WDW, right? You W the minion wave the front, you DW the second one here, you wave clear, and then you rotate out. He's trying to look for damage against a Zarya who's building up pink damage, right? So that's the first major mistake I'm already seeing here at level 1. But whatever, man. I've rotated the top. I'm grabbing the experience for my team. Meanwhile, the bottom lane has not been touched at all, right? But if we were to choose an ARAM scenario, I would say the ARAM scenario would go into the favor of the opposing team. So let's see what my team does. My team stays here. They dance around. Hook comes out, decent damage, but they keep trying to fight. Our Varian is literally just eating damage from this Zarya, getting chunked down to half health. This Ana is sadly having to constantly keep focusing. Now, I rotate down here because I see the minion wave pushing in. I don't want to fight it. I want to grab the experience. So I step up, you see me cue the minion wave, and then I just leave, right? Like, I don't have any interest in fighting this. My thought process is, maybe my team will rotate to the bottom lane. In fact, you even see me pinging it here on the map. I'm like, guys, this experience is missing, right? And this experience, if you grab it, suddenly we're moving into the important power spikes, which is something a lot of Heroes players don't think about. What is huge for each player on this team? Kael'thas usually wants to get up to higher levels. Preferably, I like getting to 13, 16 on him, but he gets pretty good around 4 and 7. Varian wants to get to 4, so he can pick where he wants to go into. If he's going Twin Blades, he wants to go to 7 because there's an important talent there. But 4 will give his team the ability to force engages and make him a lot better. His 1 through 3 is one of the worst in the games, right? He doesn't want to fight. Ana is pretty good the entire phase. She does have her E coming in, so no big deal. And Zeratul, especially on this build that I'm going for, I'm wanting to get to level 16 and then 20 for my power spikes, right? It's where I get a lot of fight potential. Now, of course, 10 I get Void Prison and I can make things happen, but that kind of goes on how the team fight is. Stitches is whatever. I mean, he's trying to get nice and healthy because of his level 1, but Stitches will be good throughout the entire match. He's a hooker, right? And he gets better after level 10. So I'm looking at my team and I'm completely confused as to like why there isn't any rotations. Look at this. For 1 minute and 15 seconds, that is 2 waves of experience has been ignored in the bottom lane, and we're not on the Merc camps, which would be at focus. My Varian comes to the top lane at level 2 and goes for an engage on Zul. I ask you, if you're facing off against a real player, what can he do here? The answer is nothing. He can't kill this person unless Zul turns around and attacks. And even if so, I think Zul wins it because of his level 1 talent. He's gotten Shade, which allows him to evade all basic attacks, which is what Varian is completely is, aside from his Lion's Maul. And he can't really force anything. So why isn't he, at 1 minute, 30 seconds ago, on top of these camps, already starting to clear them out, right? These camps give you experience, which gives us to the goals that we're looking for scaling. They also give you some map pressure, which is great on Garden of Terror. It's just missing. So I'm infuriated with this person already, but that's fine. I'm used to it. The basic mechanics consistently get lost in Heroes of the Storm, which is fine. My issue is that I wind up getting blamed later on for soaking the map. And we'll talk about that later on. So back to clearing. Zul's going to keep rotating. My objective whenever I see Zul is I'm trying to try and match him on the experience, trying to get him to use abilities, because if he uses abilities, then he can't wave clear as well anymore when he gets through his mana bar. He uses W. Bottom lane, we see a full fight happening in the 4-man. It could have been a Gul'dan just going in for a full combo, and that happens. Ana desperately trying to keep Sitges alive, but Sitges, once he gets surrounded, especially a number advantage, is going to lose. And this is the point where I decide, okay, I'm giving up this seed, and I'm going to soak instead. Here's the reason why. Look at the map. We have blue pushing in this way, which I'll be clearing. We have blue pushing in this way because they got merc camps, and we have blue pushing in here. I have 3 waves that need to be cleared, and I can only do 2 of them realistically, maybe only 1.5 because Zul is already starting to outpush me due to my variant not doing anything, right? So I make the decision that I am going to soak. I even ping back on the seed spawning. Typically, if you are even levels, you do want to fight on your side of the map to grab a seed. You want to grab at least one of them so you can get to 10 safely. Right? That's the thought process behind it. Even our Kelthos rights, we get stronger later. Let's just get to 10. Which, you know, with Gul'dan, I assumed he was going to E build at this point. I actually didn't look. Apparently this W build is a big deal now on Gul'dan, so that's something I have to account for. My variant decides to go for Twin Blades of Fury, which is not the call. Probably the worst choice here. And you're going to see why. He can't lock down a target, and if he does lock down a target, a bubble just comes out from Zarya, she gets stronger, and she destroys the fight. This will be a reoccurring theme throughout the entire match. My variant is now dead, and unavailable for 9 seconds. Zul was already working on the seeds. We saw that in the bottom right map. I'm starting to fall behind in experience because I'm trying to keep us in the game. We're a full level behind at the moment. Our Sitges step forward, but he has to be careful because that is, of course, a Gul'dan into Malfurion combo. Zarya is here as well, and variant starts to rotate in. We are 6 and 5, so in terms of actual levels, we are even here. My issue as a Zeratul player is that I don't really have my Wormhole. Wormhole is where Zeratul on this build starts to really come together at level 7, because he gets a lot more mobility and gets start to poke into the fight and then harass the back line, right? I don't have that, and I need that because we are 2 levels away from it, and I'm a level behind. And if we go fight this, we're going to give them 7, and we're going to miss out on all the experiences being pushed on the waves, right? That's why I decided not to go in. I also noticed when I'm clearing the middle wave, my Ana gets picked here, right? Like, I see this, because I'm looking up here in the top right corner, you can see the health bars. Once I see her down to under 5th HP, I'm like, oh, that's another pick. And if we don't have an Ana, we can't do poke trades, we're going to lose. So I go back to soaking. Ana gets picked off, and if you lose your healer and you're not winning a fight, typically you want to stay away from a fight, especially against Malfurion, who's good. I do step over here and see that he gets away. He decides to go back into the fight, continuing his poke. And once one pick goes off, you're just going to have Garrosh walk in, and this is what happens against Garrosh compositions. If you do not have an equal number advantage or a number advantage against him, you will lose most fights, especially in the early game, right? My Ana even wrote, no, he is soaking, you need to camp. Like, to be fair, for credit here, like, I was tilted while playing it, but I felt like my Ana was playing pretty intelligently, right? There was even an issue where she went to go start getting camps. Sometimes as a support, you have to do that because your team isn't doing it, and I made an overextension and died. I think I ended later on for this. So we start farming, continue to get up. I'm getting closer to level 7, which should help me out. Variant sitting in the middle of the map, typing behind a turret. Like, this is the style of stuff that infuriates me. Like, this pisses me off. This happens way too much in Heroes of Storm. People just sit around and type. They sit around and type. And when you sit around and type, you're not doing anything on the map. You're not moving forward. You're not setting your opponents up. And meanwhile, while this typing is happening, you have a wave pushing into you, which you could be clearing already, trying to get some map pressure, and the opponents are taking your side of the map. And when they're taking your side of the map, you're losing out on experience, and you're losing out on map pressure, which eventually feeds into more, right? So all this comes from you just sitting around. So hero, take the seeds, we're on the side of the map, we have the respawn advantage. There is some truth here, but for the reasons that I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to go over them again. This is not something that you need to force. It's why we ping back. People need to give up things occasionally in Heroes of the Storm, and for some reason, people don't look up here. If you're not at 4, 7, 10, 13, 16, or 20, those are the 6 benchmarks in Heroes of the Storm. If you're not close or ahead of your opponent in scenarios, you need to make a decision based on your composition or people being dead. I made the right decision if you ask me here. I don't think he realizes that, and I hope someone at home learns from that, because I'm tired of running this scenario. It happens way too much. Okay, so 7 to 6 does occur. We have a Drain Life build for Gul'dan. We have the Q build coming online for Garrosh. We have Malfurion do normal heals. We have a Wave Clear build coming in from Zul, making it more important for me to make sure I'm on top of the wave clear. And then over here on Stitches, looks like he's building into W and setting us up for later. Now, this is actually where I ended. I came over here, I E'd in and tried to E back here. I did this E because Garrosh was over here on the right side. I didn't realize how strong this W build is. I didn't realize it gives you a 40% movement slow, which makes it very hard for you to move out of Assassin, so I actually learned a lot here. It's something I'll have to check and play more in the future. I come in, I go for the harassment, and I try to E away when Garrosh walks over. I go to the back here, and then I'm like, maybe I can come in here and do another fight. I didn't realize, because I didn't look at my mini-map, that Ana was over here working on the camps. I assumed it was just Varian. Typically, if you're flanking in as an assassin, you want to be able to jump over, and your support can help you get back into the pocket. And I made a mistake here going for the gauge, I think. Yeah. I saw a Gravity Lapse go off, and I saw the shield pop. I was like, maybe I can get some damage on this? And then I realized, never mind, I'm not moving out and get picked off. So that was an int by me. That's my fault. Ana needs to stay in the 4-man rotation, but I should have checked it before I went in. That's okay. I'm willing to be able to admit my mistakes. And it wound up becoming a, what, 3-man team wipe here? It's just the Zarya control here, overall. Meanwhile, this is what happens when the Zeratul does rotate out. It's actually a great example of why I didn't rotate earlier in the level 7. Look at this. This huge wave is pushing in. We did get a giant camp to work in the middle lane, and we're working in the bottom 4. If I'm not constantly on babysitting duty, we are going to be losing out in the map control on the race to level 10, which we already have been losing out in. Ways to get through that is, of course, do a quick little fight, find a rotation where they're overextending, whatever, but none of that was really available to us, and this is why Zeratul players do not want to walk into a fight that is not already in an advantageous position for them. They would rather just soak, especially against Azul, because he will kill off your stuff. You lose experience, and you lose your walls. Varian eventually does get the Night Camp here. Should run up here at the top lane and start soaking. He actually runs behind their wall and starts typing. Why would he listen to you when you F objective? Like, it's just so infuriating that one objective being lost by this player equals him just thinking that I can't do anything. I actually think I muted them here. It's actually really nice that Ana backed me up. I really appreciate that. If we ever see this Ana player, thank you very much. Like, it's so unfortunate that you're playing intelligently and we just lose because someone wants to play Twin Blades Varian and hurt the team. Engage comes in on Malfurion, which I do appreciate. I have to soak at the bottom lane though, so I can't really do too much. Zarya's shields are at full capacity with this pink shield. And you can see how hard it is for the team to get into a full fight, right? Garrosh goes for an engage. Luckily, they did kill off the Malfurion, but now Tin has connected, and we are for sure not getting the second seed. But that's okay. No harm, no foul. 2 out of 3 seeds, it's not a full objective. You need 3 out of 3. Our priority now should be moving towards level 10 and not trying to fight anything. If you want to do any attempt here, you can maybe step up and try to harass your opponent a little bit. Just find it funny how some people can't play alone. I really just, like, I don't know what this variant is talking about. Legitimately. But that's the thing is, like, every time that I play Heroes of the Storm, I run into these scenarios where I'm like, what is being taught out there, you know? Like, what is the thought process? You know, why do they log into HOTS, you know? That's something that I struggle with a lot. It's a lot of my source of frustration. And again, like, if I go play League or Dota or any other game that exists out there, Valorant, etc., these conversations get cleared up pretty quickly. People are pretty okay to, like, let you know what they're trying to do strategy-wise, or there's, like, better ping systems or better items I can go for. Like, I can use this variant and play around on one of my teammates. Here, I can't really play around on it unless she wants to feed me the nano boost, you know? Because we're stuck on the whole team experience thing. Like, if I don't have variant here, I'm missing 20% of my team comp. Over here, we are 10-11. I'm trying to play aggressive as Zyna to Zul. I realize that my team does get a full flank here on the right side, which I can appreciate. I blink in and sadly get hit with a Twilight Dream, which was a great play by them. I had a VP out. I'm looking for Kel'Thas to step up here and put out a combo. He throws out a random Gravity Lapse. I was hoping it would be a Flame Strike. Flame Strike's a lot easier for me to use. And then, of course, he can go into a W afterwards. But sadly, none of that connects. I can't drop the VP for him, and he gets picked off. I try to come in here and play around my small health bar. Varian goes in. He's got the protected. Stitches actually had a pretty decent hook there. I have to play around here on the left side, just going for the back line. I just don't have that much damage yet. My build takes a bit to pop off, right? I can work some auto attacks here and there, and it's fine. Poison Nova does connect. Ana working hard to get it clear. I run in, and I was like, oh no, I actually took a hit from a corruption into a drain life. I should have eaten earlier over to Zana for her to heal me. But I think eventually Larry Wakes should be able to get this. Nice job, and there we go. Now we can move into the seed. So what we should be having here is Varian stepping up, working on clearing these out, and then he needs his zone here on the far left if we want to get this. We also need to get Stitches nice and healthy. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, KT is working on grabbing his HP, and is only at 8 of his mana addict stacks. I do believe if you are playing correctly, you can get about a 30 you can get 2 regions per minute, potentially 3 if you're playing around Merc camps. So at 8 minutes here, he should have overhit 20 here, right? It's just that he's not focusing on that. If you're going to pick up that talent, please play around those, especially if you have a tank helping you out as well. So just goes in the back line and goes from the Malfurion. I go in and put my slow on top of Garrosh. Just want to try and push down anyone that I can get some damage on. Gul'dan shows up on the back left corner. And we get into this weird scenario where I'm trying to like fight around my Varian. I dash in, get some damage on top of the Gul'dan. Nice E there from my KT as I break the drain life. Come over, keep up the harassment, keep up the auto attacks. And then once they back away from the fight, I'm like, okay, this is probably okay. I'm looking for KT to do a combo here. Again, a Flame Strike would be nice. He just doesn't go for it, so I have to leave after a Bone Prism, and I get stuck on the drain life. Overextension by me, but I was hoping that maybe we can set up this damage from KT, which he just doesn't do. That's the problem with Void Prison, is just people don't know how to use it. Just throw your abilities on it, and then trust Zeratul to drop it, right? I wouldn't use CC, just like do a Flame Strike, anything that's pretty safe. A safe poke ability is always good. Full invade happening here on the bottom right. Varian goes to the top lane. Will be against Zul. He can get the wave clear against that, so he actually should be okay. Like, this is actually a spot where Zul should be alright. Don't play into the W here. Just step up and get your auto attacks, and then start clearing out the minions, and he should be just fine. We're moving on to our next seed, and I would say overall, despite this game being hard, we have stabilized. I continue to step forward. I'm just trying to go for the wave clear. I'm pushing as hard as I can to level 16. I'm trying to bait them out of abilities or even set for a gorge. And then I see that my team decided to fight this after I did my wave clear. I'm not sure why this fight started, right? We're a pick composition. We have a Stitches. We should be trying to play around that, right? If we hook and get a gorge and bring them underneath the tower, that is much more doable. But the full fight happens, we lose KT. I was able to clear up the Giant to clear up the bottom lane. I do rotate in because this is an important seed. I'm waiting out the root before I go in for some harass. There it is. We get the hit, and we get some body block on this Garrosh, but I decided to go ahead and pull away because I see the Poison Nova's coming out. Get chip by out in the bottom left and run over to Ana to wait for some heals. We get a VP on the middle here, and I'm like, maybe we can get a Stitches hook, but he sadly gets hit by ghouls, so it's probably why he can go for it. And then that hook becomes a little bit late. We go for some harassment. I'm trying to put pressure on Malfurion, but I have to be careful of Garrosh and Zul. There we go. Finally getting the combos. Ana gives me the Nana boost, which I really appreciate it because finally I can clean this up. And with KT here, we finally get a seed. Great. Good team fight. We made it work. We did our best. There were some abilities that were missed out on. I wish the hook would have came out on the Void Prison, but that's okay. We got the separation. We overall got to level 16. Somehow, despite having such horrible macro in the early game, we have turned this game around. I clear out the bottom, top lane clears as well, and then for some reason our Varian goes up here to the Merc camp with the Stitches. The problem with this invade is that there is no damage nearby, right? So that means that they have to have Varian on top of the back line, but that's really hard with the Zarya and then of course the Horrify that you just saw. Varian goes in, gets taunt, he's just trying to beat up on this Garrosh. And the thing about Garrosh, the lower he gets on HP, the more armor he gets, so he's not a great target to really focus if you're put into this scenario. I do rotate over and help out the Zarya, and then I get locked down by the Silence. I don't think I have a way out of here. I try to work in some damage, and Ana, bless her soul, does her best to save me, and I'm able to skirt on out. Good, let's get away. We got the Giant camp, we're good to go. Get out of there, leave. We don't have to force anything else right now. Let's get nice and healthy before the next fight. And our Varian walks up, starts to engage on a Night camp. There is a Phoenix coming out from KT, but suddenly Varian's locked into a weird corner and kind of getting pinned down. Anna's doing everything he can to keep her alive. I rotate over. I'm trying to look for the Malfurion on the side. Malfurion even actually a nice little Moonfire there. Didn't see him, and I went for the Zul instead. The moment that I saw Zul use his armor, I decided to step up, and I'm waiting for my KT to come in. He goes in for a Flame Strike, finally hits it, gets off a Living Bomb there as well, and we kite away. Good hold by the front line. Everything that I do here is trying to put pressure on Malfurion, so Garrosh will come back for the team. And now we have all 5 people here. We have a Gorge up, and we should be a-okay in this fight if we can make things work. I get thrown in, hit Malfurion, get locked down, and I'm going to completely say that was a hard situation for me to be in. I should not have put myself in there, right? The throw happens. Now, my issue here is that KT was putting 0 damage on top of that front line this entire time. Living Bomb combos on Garrosh are instrumental, especially if he's coming back to stop me in the back line. He spreads that fire to his teammates, right? Instead, what we saw from KT is he rotated from here all the way down into the fight and just died, right? At least, like with my engagement, I'm trying to poke and I make a misstep. If your KTers walking in and trying to get damage on their back line that's full health, you're literally ending the fight, right? And so he just gets like super aggressive for some reason about it and says, oh, you're so smart. And then I make sure to mute him off as well, right? At this point, I have no idea what my team says. This will all be new to me as we head into the late game. We're going to have a bunch of seeds coming our way. Here's the good news about Zeratul. I can Void Praise in the core if I need to slow down these fights. I have a level 16. I just need 2 more levels, and maybe, just maybe, I can force a fight here in the end game. So I'm going to step up, try to clear out anything that's in the way, grab the minion waves. Bottom lane, just make sure you clear the seeds. He's doing a good job of working on that, working on the tower. There are giants pushing as well. This is actually a really deadly push. And honestly, this really punishes our lack of wave clear that we have, right? We only have 2 people, and both our wave clearers that can do wave clears in the top lane. The moment I see KT commit to Phoenix here, I go up and step up for a Bone Prison. And then I go ahead and walk down this way. I see Garrosh coming towards me as well. Waiting for him to do a combo, get up a step. I get the VP off, and I just run over to Ana for a possible heal. As Garrosh was threatening me into that position, good play by him. Syzygus finally comes on over. And if he can get a Gorge here, it might be okay, but the issue is we've just finally cleared the bottom lane. Look how long it's taken him to clear this out. Like, ugh, Farron is such a rough pick. We finally get this all cleared up, but we have lost half a keep up here, 3/4 of a keep, 3/4 of a keep down here, and half a keep here. Good news is, this is one of the maps where you can kind of defend forever. It's kind of similar to Tomb of the Spider Queen. When it comes to these map rush mechanics, they do take a while for them to finally kill off the core. So while we will have catapult pressure and it will be annoying, we're still in a good spot. All we need to do now is not lose the game. We do have a Zarya pick coming over here, so I try to help out my Syzygus by peeling off the Garrosh and then immediately leaving the fight. He actually stands still here. This is a bait. Garrosh players do this all the time. They'll stand in a corner, look like they're AFK, and then combo you if they have a level advantage. And I'm like, I'm not dealing with that. I ping back, and look who is flanking him from back right. Our Varian. He is stuck in a 2-2-1 position in a pocket of death all by himself. I'm already leaving ahead of the bottom lane to work on level 20. I didn't even see that he did this weird-ass flank. We hit play, he goes in for the E, the AFK stops, he gets combo completely, and the team forces a fight. Why, in any game ever in Heroes of Storm, unless your core is dying, why are you fighting 20 to 19? 20 is your best power spike in most scenarios. There are some heroes that kind of suck at level 20, but you know, that's apples to oranges, right? Why? Why is this happening? If anything, let this Varian die, and you two do not need to save him, right? They step up, full engage happens, they try to save their teammates, KT gets thrown in, which is our wave clear and a lot of our damage. I try to rotate over to try and help and build up some time, and at this point, the game is over. Just a massive amount of mistakes and throws happening by both this KT and this Varian player, who happen to be the lippiest ones in the entire match. And again, if this was just one game of Heroes of Storm, whatever, man. That's okay. It happens in League 2, it happens in Dota, but this consistently happens. And all I'm asking is for Heroes of Storm players to sit down, watch the replay, learn what your characters do, right? And then build around them. I mean, look at this KT. As he finished the stack, finally at 24 here. That's good. We got 20 here for Syzygus, which, to be fair, if you're playing well at this point, you can have nearly 40 to 45 regen globes, right? Also the same here for KT. If they were just playing around the talents they pick, like, I get the sense that a lot of Heroes of Storm players run to some build on some random website. Maybe they run to a streamer, copy a build, and just run it. Think about what your characters do, you know? Become better. Because right now, it is impossible to play with people. And people that are serious about this game and that seriously want to win don't want to queue up, right? And then when you do queue up and you try to put any effort in to actually try or make educational content, you get shit on in YouTube comments, Twitch comments, or Reddit for actually caring about what people do. And it's just frustrating. It's very infuriating. I feel like I don't run into this in any other game that I play. I stream and play so many other games, and for some reason, the HOTS community itself is so adverse to learning that it's merely frustrating. Regardless, I hope you learned something today, and I hope that you understand where my frustrations come from. If not, and you still hate what I have to say about this game, please unsub and move on. It'd be better for both of us. Cool? Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys around. Goodbye.